Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. Thank you for joining me this evening. I love that intro. Matilda Shakes, top Sheffield band, mostly Blades, headlining the Lead Mill in a few weeks. So show them your support. Spot on that from them. We are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. Thank you to them for sponsoring us now through to the end of the season. Very much appreciated. And there's two things I want to talk about tonight. Two big things that both obviously affect us, but in very different ways. So, the first one, as the title states, cheating Forest give United a lifeline. Nottingham Forest are cheats, and I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. Spent 250, 300 million quid, brought in 20 odd players. You can't do it. You can't do it with financial fair play nowadays. Whether you agree with FFP or not, they have blatantly broken the rules, not caring, thinking they can buy their way out of it. Mr. Marinakis, who reminds me of Come Fly With Me, Stelios or whatever it was called, Stavros Flatley, throwing his money around like it's a Greek do. Don't work anymore. You can't just come in and spend whatever you want, try and buy points in the Premier League. So it looks like, and don't get me started on Everton, who still stand by Forest being the worst run club in the league, but how he can get deducted points twice, potentially, it's absolutely ludicrous. So I'm smiling because, look, our season's been a disaster on the field. And some would argue it's been a disaster off the field. But I will take any advantage we can get. And that's not necessarily in the sporting spirit to some, but I can justify it because it's like me playing Football Manager and going and giving Sheffield United 250 million quid and just spending it to stay in the league. I've then levelled up our squad by 250 million quid. Some who I don't even play. Some players like John Joe Shelby, Forest have had to terminate his contract because of a technicality with FFP that they couldn't have so many loans and all this sort of rubbish. So terribly managed. And it's absolutely laughable from the outside because it's embarrassing for them. But because they've levelled up to a degree where they've brought in players that a club their size, and yeah, I will throw my fishing rod out there a little bit, wouldn't normally be able to afford coming up from the Premier League through the playoffs. They would normally be gradually building. Well, no, they've just tried to chuck money at it and get mercenaries in. So they signed a Morgan Gibbs-White, who they would never have been able to afford if they'd have come up and been a sustainable club. They've signed these top players that really level them up and give them a chance of survival. And now they're going to be potentially docked up to 10 points. Well, you've got to ask yourself, is 10 points, is that squad depth that they've been allowed to build for the breach, is that worth 10 points? I would argue yes. Probably worth a lot more. Their squad is capable of getting 10 more points than us, even if we both start off at 0, aren't they? Let's be right. So I don't think 10 points is out of the question or unfair by any means. They've cheated. They've cheated and we may benefit. And we, as a Sheffield United fan, and I know a lot of you will think this way as well, after Hans Sagers, after Tevez, all these ridiculous debacles that we've had to suffer, the Villa ghost goal, I know that didn't directly affect our status, but it did then. We've been involved in such controversies that we've been on the wrong end of. It'd be very nice to actually be on the right side of somebody else's wrongdoing this time. So I am here for it all day long. I am here for the Forest bites. Don't worry, because they won't be ruining our chat tonight. We've got mods in now, so thank you to Scott and Ian for sorting that out and making sure no Forest fans infiltrate our chats. This is a Sheffield United. Everybody's welcome here. And I welcome all sort of friendly banter. But we've had it before where we got spammed by some Forest losers. So, yeah, fingers crossed that they get a huge points deduction. And look, I hear what people are saying about it as well. Even if they get 10 points deducted, they're still in front of us. I think they're still, what are they on? Are they on 21? So there'll be a couple of points at least away from us. But everything then becomes, oh no, they're on 20, so they'll be on 10 points. We'll be a point away from them. If Everton get docked another 10, they'll be on 7 points. So we'll be 3 points from safety behind Burnley, with a game in hand on Burnley. People that think we may still get relegated. We may still get relegated. We probably will. But this gives us a much, much better chance. So let's not be ashamed of hoping that they get the maximum penalty possible. Because if we scrape over the line in a season that we knew we were chancing it this year with the way we were playing it, the signings we intended to make, we were banking the money and hoping for the best. If we get over the line this season, we'll have a war chest to spend and we'll be able to start doing it organically. Not the way Forest have done it. We'll be able to start doing it organically in terms of investing real money into the squad. I think it's more likely we go down. I think the alternative is, which is slightly more difficult to stomach, even if the points are deducted and Forest do end up going down, and Everton maybe end up going down as well, we can't be that third team to be relegated because it'll be a really tough league in the Championship next year. They've got the resources to chuck more money at it, haven't they? They've got the squad value to wheel and deal and get some great players over the line. So it ups the pressure a little bit more for me in some respects to make sure we're safe. But the knock-on question for me is, does this affect how we approach January now? There's not been an awful lot of movement. What we have seen from the club, which I think is brilliant, Jevon Beattie's the latest one today after Antoine Hackford yesterday or the day before. We are tying down all of our great youth prospects. Somebody rightly pointed out that Sai Satchev has gone to Oldham on loan for the rest of the season, which I think is a good deal for him. I think he could have gone higher personally, but Oldham are a good club, particularly for that level. And he's not signed a new contract, or it's not been reported that he's signed a new contract. I'm hoping we've got an option on Sai's contract, but we'll see. We didn't sell him. We obviously would have had the option to sell him, so that hopefully we still see something in Sai Satchev, because I really rate him as a player from what I've seen. So we're tying down the youth of the club. We're looking to the future, and that bodes well for our ambitions of becoming a Cat 1 status club. I think that's probably what we're preparing for by getting all these deals done and players tied down. So that is the real upside to becoming a sustainable club. But does it affect our business in January? Does it change what our original plans were? We may have, because we know whatever we spend this month, we have to recoup if we're relegated. We'll add it to the existing deficit that we've got to clear. So if you pluck a number out of the air and say the deficit is 20 million at the moment, if we're relegated, you might say we sell Gus Hamer for 20 million or sell Linnell, which I'll come on to, for 20 million. That's clear. But if we spend another 20 million this window, then we might bring in a Victor Hansen and even a Callum O'Hare. But then if we're relegated, we might have to sell Hamer and Linnell. We're adding to the deficit. So the fact that we have now got more of a chance, potentially, of survival than we did a couple of days ago because of these points deductions, does it change how the club approaches the window? Do we go for it more, ultimately? And if it's not do it, it's should we? Should we be going for it more? And I think, why not? We will never get it's been a really poor season in terms of results for us. I think we waited too long to make the change. I'm on record as saying that. Fully back Chris Wilder's way to come in, and I don't expect us to be as defensive as we have been in some games. We can't forget we played Man City, we played Liverpool. I think now there is time to work with them. I think we'll see more of a return to the Chris Wilder attacking football style where, look, we're not going to be better than most teams we come up against in the Premier League, but at least we'll give them a go. And we'll try and catch them on the up, and I think we'll go and attack teams now. And that'll give us a chance as well. So if he can be given better players, then why don't we give ourselves more of a chance? Why don't we take that leap of faith and go and buy that goalkeeper? Rather than somebody in on loan, why don't we buy a goalkeeper, buy a centre-half? To do that, we might have to sell an L. If you're asking me honestly, would I sell an Ahmedhodzic to get in a Chris Meckham, for example, and those two players are being sort of linked together at the moment. I know that Sheffield United did a video on them. I'd already prepared a video too on a very similar thing. I've got a fantastic shot that Riley Roberts, the man in demand, has done for the Ramble. So we're looking to do a lot more work with Riley. So thank you for your work on that, pal. I'm really pleased with it. But we're going to get some more videos done as well in terms of stats and shorts coming out and things like that. But in terms of the Enel and Mepham comparison, Enel's got a higher ceiling. There's no two ways about it. Otherwise, Mepham would have made more of his time in the Premier League. But maybe in our system, where we need the ball and we need possession for Enel to flourish, maybe at Premier League level, he doesn't fit with us. We're not going to be a team that allows him time on the ball. He's going to be chasing the ball more than he's carrying the ball. So maybe a no-nonsense stopper, a defender that can just tackle the man that's coming towards him and give it easy. Maybe that's more the ilk of what we're after. It'll be cheaper. It'll be like a wheel and deal, if you like. So we'll get more money in from Enel, 10 to 15 million, say. We spend no more than 7-8 million on Mepham. You've then got a little bit to play with to bring in a goalkeeper, to bring in a forward or a really strong forward on loan, potentially, on high wages, who knows. So that's where I am. That's what I've come on tonight to talk about. In terms of Enel, because I know people will be asking, I asked this morning what was happening with Enel and were there any legs to it. There is interest, but at the time of asking this morning, and things change very quickly, particularly as we're more than halfway through January now, aren't we? So the further into the month we go, the faster things will get. So this may have changed already. I've seen the reports that Napoli are in for him. I don't know if that's true or not. I know there's interest in Enel, but at the time I asked this morning, there was no bid. So make of that what you will. I'm going to jump into your comments now. Take any comments you want to talk about tonight. Forest will all roll around and come out smelling of roses. Any points deductions will likely be at the end of the season. In fact, as well, they've said the commission or whoever it is that's doing the independent review, all points deductions, that all punishments will be applied to this season. Live by the sword, die by the sword, says Daz. I hope we're doing things right because we all know there's more to come. Top man. Unfortunately, both clubs have assembled their squads and will probably still stay up. That's the thing, isn't it, Tom? Because they've used that money. Forest have used that 250, 300 million to acquire a Premier League squad. If they were only allowed to spend 100 million, like is most teams' limits, then they wouldn't have the talent in the squad that they have. But now they've got that talent. Even if we start off at an even playing field with them, there's more chance of them getting out of it than us. Because they're cheated. If we fight on and stay up, with help from points deductions, I'll be thinking about all those situations that hampered us in previous relegations. Absolutely right, Andy. Absolutely right, pal. And, we're not too proud of it. It's happened to us before. Why can't we be beneficiaries for once? Like if you're on here, I don't want to stop up by default, says Daz. If it's Forest, that's different gravy. Tell it to take as many points off as they can. Love that. Shame man cheats, but never got what you expect when brown envelopes was getting handed out to FIFA. That Premier League stinks. It's so corrupt. It's shocking what goes on in it. Let's be right. Really, really bad. If we stay up at the expense of Forest, that'd be quite something. Unbelievable. We've borrowed more money, says Dave, against future earnings. Club ready to go for it based on Forest and Everton losing points. Maybe. There's been a couple of tweets on it tonight about we borrowed against future earnings. It's a loan that we've taken out, but we've been here before, haven't we? We've heard about these sort of deals that we've done before. That could well just be for operating costs, and we're taking it out secured against future earnings that we know we're going to make in parachute payments, even if we're relegated. That is me giving you the straight safety answer. The alternative is we might just bump our coffers up by a good few million quid and have a bit of money to play with. Don't get your hopes up, though. In my opinion, not a good idea borrowing on future earnings. Nearly got caught out on that last year. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Gaz. It's never ideal, is it? And it's something we said we weren't going to do, which makes me wonder if we're actually going to spend it this year rather than have it just there for operating costs. So I'd be surprised if we spent it on transfers. We won't find out regarding Forest and Everton until around April time, so borrowing funds now makes no sense. If it's regarding FFP, I think it's more about rebuild and Anel possibly leaving. Yeah, okay. Gutted with the Anel news, says Chris. He's one of my favourite players and I rate him highly. Now, those cheats always stay up at their expense. Would love to see the beat the drop to that. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man. Yeah, they didn't want to do cheat the drop this week, and that's Kev's joke. So thank you to Kev for that. I'll give you credit, pal. Yeah, FFP TV didn't fancy it for some reason. If we get 20 million for Anel, and we've got to accept, but I want to see players coming in first before we sell. Let's get it right this time. That's the ideal, isn't it? And to be honest, 20 million, I think, not that I don't think it will be worth that, because I think if you were playing in a team that showcased how good he was on the ball, I think we'd be looking at more 20 million. I think we're looking more in the region of 12 to 15, to be honest. But yeah, the ideal is you get somebody in knowing that Anel's going and you can fund it, rather than we've got a huge hole at right centre back and people know that we've got money to burn to replace him. City won't be deducted points. They'll have too much money and clout. Let's hope Forest and Everton get points deducted. We deserve a bit of luck up the Blades. Too right, Al. Not bothered about City, to be fair. Same as Chelsea, the Premier League management will always support the big boys. Absolutely. Even Rich, I think you're getting under Forest fans' skins. It's all a laugh, isn't it? Listen, they'd be giving us the same stick if it were the other way around. I honestly think the point deduction is enough. Any team which breaks the rules and integrity of the league should be relegated. Oh, you mean isn't enough then, Danny? Yeah, I won't be against that either. The players they overspent on can get them out of trouble. It's not a fair deal. I completely agree. Completely agree with that. Like I said, if we're back to an even playing field, they've got a better squad than us, haven't they? Dockham all, says John. Top man. Top man. Hi, Jimmy. How you doing? Have you seen the leaked messages between Anel's dad and Mrs.? No, I haven't. I've heard that Anel's dad's come out of a Facebook group, a Blades Facebook group, which must mean he's leaving. Again, you know, it's one of them, isn't it? It's one of them. What's the message that's leaked? Scott says the audio's a bit weird. Let me just double check that. That might be me. Might be, yeah. Is that any better? Thank you for letting me know, pal. Sorry, I've rambled on for 18 minutes with a dodgy mic. Dockham points and free Gibbs White. Right, yeah. So a few of you pointing out the audio's dodgy. That's because it was coming through a laptop and I didn't have my mic wired up. But there you go. That's because we're not professional, isn't it? Point deduction, not enough. Relegation should happen if... yeah. Got that. You've corrected your early one, haven't you? Sounds like the input isn't the microphone, Jimmy. Yeah. All right. Wow. Rules are rules, says Andrew. Simple, but whatever will be, will be. Florists have cheated, but let's see. Absolutely. Evening, Jimmy. I've listened to Simon Jordan on about Everton and Forest and how much they've lost the ins and outs of FFP. Yeah, I listened to him a little bit earlier. I like Simon Jordan, I have to say. We've got to put some points on the board now, as we've got so much things going for us now. An ideal opportunity for Wilds to get troops attention, although Chelsea might be in as well. Get a few players in now. Yeah, so I think I read that right, Danny. Apologies, I kept looking back and forth, but yeah, go for it. You're saying basically, aren't you? Every chance now. We need every bit of help as possible this second half of the season, so bring on the deductions. Too right, Craigo. Too right, mate. I feel like I'm in the small minority that doesn't want Anel sold, but understand why we would want to sell him. Gabe, I get it, mate, and you're entitled to that opinion. He's no doubt one of our biggest assets. I think if you look at the squad now and think we've got enough to stay up currently, which some might think we've got a good enough squad to really have a go, then don't sell him. I don't think Anel comes down with us to the Championship if we're relegated. And if that's the case, and we don't feel we're strong enough at the moment,
than use that asset, because he hasn't played well for us this year, because the style no longer suits him. We're now a team out of possession a lot more than we are in possession. I think we sell the asset now, get the money in, and use it to rejig the squad. Craig's with you though, Gabe. Absolutely right. Points deduction isn't enough, says Jeff. They should have a transfer embargo for 3 windows. Yeah, they'd still have 80 players, wouldn't they? Danny's heard that Napoli's in for an L. Get rid and get the money. Then no money spent by the club. Then Wilder won't need to sell if we go down. Mepham and Strasbourg player in full and use the last loan for up top. I need... do you mean in goal? I don't know. Evening, Jimmy. Who do you think is the best options to replace Anel if he's sold? I like Mepham. The more I hear about Mepham, I like him. Listen, he's not the best defender we'll be linked with. The 6'5" guy that looks to be a £6 million rumour that Nias, is it something like that Riley first pointed out? He looked a real unit as well, to be fair. But in terms of the deal that we could get, where it's cheaper than Anel and his age is right and he's an international and he's played in the Premier League and he's somebody that would come down to the Championship with us and be happy to go again, I think Mepham fits what we're after. I'm not saying he's the best defender out there, but I think in terms of the mould that because what you could do, you could go out and get a Michael Keane on loan, who's on 50 grand a week, that signed for 30 million, I think, didn't he, for Everton? So you're not looking at much change out of 10 million quid if we were going to buy him, which we wouldn't spend that sort of money, I don't think. He might not want to play in the Championship again. And is he that much better than Mepham? So I think you've got to weigh all your deals up, haven't you, case by case. Thing is, both Everton and Forest will get doctor points, but they'll keep all those players they overspent in. Absolutely. Which makes them easily good enough to still catch us, Burnley and Luton. Excuse me. Even though we're going to benefit, we're going to make the most of it on our performance. To me, it depends on who else Wilder brings in up the Ramble, top man. Just need to improve our results, which under CW, I believe we will. Then the points deductions just give us that chance up the Blades, top man. I hope so. I hope so. I think we will spend a bit more if this happens. Well, that's what we're talking about, Josh, isn't it? Would you? Do you think it's worth taking that extra risk now that we're going to be hopefully closer to those clubs and more teams are pulled into it? No matter what happens, they've got decent squads and depth too. They could get out of it. If no players are sold, they do stay up, then that ain't fair on us. Because then teams can overspend and players can get them out of it. Absolutely. All right, Jimmy. How come McBurney's on holiday so soon before a match day? Yeah, he's in Dubai, I think, isn't he? It's strange that. Reckon it has a lot to do with signing new contracts, like when the Prince invited Ilman to LA to try and convince him. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I thought it was a bit strange that he were away. Listen, if he's been given the time, if they get a long weekend off, because we're not playing till the weekend, I'm not sure, but it just seemed a bit odd to me that they were away. Be good business if we sell an L and get 2 25, 26-year-old centre-backs on long-term deals, says Rye. Good business, in it. For me, though, I'd like to get a centre-back and a goalkeeper if we're going to get permanence in. However, we've still not got a new keeper, says Will. Absolutely. If we decide to go for it, do you think we're attractive to quality players? I think we are attractive to players that are in that Mepham mould. So in that, not quite making it currently at Premier League level, but young enough to give it another go. But hopefully feel like they're not going to spend a long time in the Championship. So like a Gus Hamer, for example, he's not really proven himself at Premier League level. But we know he's too good for the Championship. He's a cheat code in the Championship, isn't he? So if we can get players of that level in, I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to get players that are too good for the Champ, but not quite proven themselves in the Premier League. If the FFP works on a rolling 3-year turnover losses, so Everton, Forest, it's 35 million Premier League loss and 12 million per year in the Champ. Yeah, and I think Forest have spent nearly 300 million, haven't they? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hear about the potential deficit at the end of the season, but somehow I don't understand it. Any chance you or Darren can explain why we are strapped? Yeah, I would like to hear from Darren on that, to be fair. I wouldn't be able to give you a detailed enough answer, Tim, and it certainly wouldn't be accurate. It'd be speculative at best. So we all know what we've been told in different pockets. but I couldn't give you an informed answer at the moment. So Darren would be a man. I'll have a chat with him and see if he's keen to come back on the Ramble. But I know he was sort of enjoying a little bit of time out of the spotlight, I think. Don't think the club will change their approach because we won't find out what the final deductions are until the season is finished. Panel in April, appeals in May. I think we maybe should go get the goalkeeper. Fair enough. I think you can't. If it goes to the end of the season, and I'm not disputing what you say, Bill, but if it does go to the end of the season because of the appeals process and things like that, they're not going to post-season dock a team to relegate them. It just doesn't happen like that, does it? They should have relegated West Ham with that Tevez affair, and they didn't do it. They just fined them. We all know why Anel's being sold. Wilder doesn't like overseas players. It has to be settled. I disagree. But having said that, I don't think he dislikes any overseas players. I think he objects strongly to that. But we know that historically he's had a British core, hasn't he? But he will push back massively on that, I'm sure. And I think he needs to. He needs to adapt. If that was his way of thinking, he'd need to adapt. I think selling Anel will get us Victor. I think selling Anel will get us Victor now and probably Mepham in and avoid a bidding war. I'd likely lose. We'd likely lose in the summer for him. If we sell Anel, Ahmed Hodzic, and get in Chris Mepham and Victor Johansson, I'm doing it now. I think that's the deal, isn't it? It's a long stretch, I know, but do you reckon if Anel leaves, we could get a keeper, centre-half, and potentially a player like an O'Hare or Elias Chair this month? Unlikely, but we can always hope. No, I don't think that's doable, to be honest, unless I don't think one of those attacking players will come. O'Hare at an absolute outside chance. Chair, no for this month. But unless we get a keeper on loan or a centre-half on loan, then we might push the boat out for O'Hare. But no, I'd be surprised, mate, to be honest. Imagine Everton being docked to 20 and Forest 10 and we still go down. Do you know, I went on phone to my dad before I came on tonight. That's exactly what he said. He said, that is the other way to look at it, pal, so don't be too excited about it. I doubt we have the purse strings right now to spend at will and spend the money needed to stay in the league. Yeah, I think you're probably right. We need a new centre-back in the next few days. I agree we need a new centre-back. I think Chris Mepham could do well for us. Absolutely. Matthew says, hey, Jimmy, hope you're good. I am, pal, thank you. Hope you are too. I've been more than happy to sell Anel now and hopefully get 10 to 15 million and make our team stronger for at least next season because let's face it, Anel would not be with us if we go. Absolutely. Does not want to go to Championship. His value would go down 6 to 8 million to get the full transfer for him now. I think the punishment should be harsher, to be honest. Forest should be forced to sell and recoup a figure, potentially paying the clubs that got relegated last season due to their cheating. That'd be so interesting, wouldn't it? It never happened, but I love it. I love it in theory. Luton and Burnley results look even worse now. I was just looking at that as well. That 6-point swing for Luton, the one that got away, weren't it? Absolutely the one that got away. Slimani had a poor game tonight at AFCON. I didn't see it, pal, but thank you for that update. Thank Nambia keeper pulled heroics tonight. Get him signed up for peanuts, can catch a ball, not like drop and Wes. Nambia keeper. That's another name to chuck into the mix, isn't it? If we stay up, at least your boy will stay, which I'm hoping comes off. That would be the absolute icing on the cake. But I am not counting my chickens on that. How do you become a member, pal? All the details are in the description, mate. You can either join on YouTube or through our Patreon, which has further benefits as well. But any support is very much appreciated. Let's hope Everton and Forest get point deductions so we can scrap our survival hopes. Get point deductions so we can scrap our survival hopes. Loads better. Oh, yeah. This must be when I've, sort my mic out, Anna. True professional. You know it, Craig. You know it, pal. James says, any news on the goalie situation? I wish, mate. I wish. This is the one that I think we need to do. Look, a centre-half is desirable. And if we sell Anel, it's absolutely necessary. But the keeper is the one. It's the one we know we're going to do business on in the summer anyway. We know that we need to replace Wes. I'm no longer am I sort of saying, oh, well, if we get relegated, it might be out. No, we need a goalkeeper. That is my. I'm not moving on that one. Come on, Chrissy. I'm confident we finish above Burnley. Hopefully, Wilder performs yet another miracle and gets us out of this mess. We'll have the scabs to thank if we stay up. Maybe bring Gibbs White back for 1.5 mil. I think we could have a very good second half to this. I'm not saying it'll be enough to stay up, but I think particularly if the teams are drawn in, whether it's points deductions or not, but if we get closer to that pack, like if they're both deducted 10 points, we're 3 points from safety now with a game in hand on Burnley. So we're back in it. We're back in it. Bristol City 1-up. That's good to know. Thanks, Gumbo. Is that against West Ham? Oh, very good. Diallo to Borough. Surely if we're using wingers now, we have to look at him. I'd be looking at him. Thing is, I mean, Man United don't fall into this category, but you look at players like David Brooks, and there's other examples. Connor Cody might come into this category as well. Me and John were talking about Connor Cody the other night, actually. It might be worth a shout now. I don't think he's getting in at Leicester, which people would have their own opinions on, but you know, if we can get him for cheap, I don't think that's a bad deal. Anyway, my point being, good players like David Brooks, for example, and there will be others that don't jump into me at the minute, they're more likely to go to the Championship, the better teams in the Championship, and I don't mean better teams than us, but I just mean strong Championship teams than poorer Premier League teams, because there's a chance David Brooks comes in for us and does really well. And also there's other sort of intangibles, like Bournemouth will want David Brooks to go to a Leeds or a Southampton because he'll see a lot of the ball and he'll do well and his confidence will grow. Whereas if he's in a team like Sheffield United, he's not going to see as much of the ball. It's going to be a struggle for him. And, you know, it may not be as fruitful as they'd like it to be. So Diallo to Borough, he'll probably see a lot of success. He'll see a lot of the ball in the Championship. But if they want him to step up to Premier League level, they want to test him in the Premier League now. He's had that Championship loan. I would be looking at Amad Diallo. He was getting in at Man U as well, weren't he? We're coming off bench recently. Get Sam Curtis to replace Anel. His teammate Connor Keeley. Yeah, you've been saying that, haven't you, pal? Connor Keeley, you like him, 6'5" centre half. Keep banging that drum. People watch this channel, as you know. Diallo's such an obvious choice. Clearly loves playing in the red and white. Depends on what we can promise Man U in playing time, etc. Having said that, now we've got Brereton Diaz and McAtee. Where do you play Diallo? We had this conversation, didn't we, on live phoning with Man Mountain. It's great having all these options, and don't get me wrong, I want options. We need options. We need a much stronger bench. But if we brought a David Brooks in or an Amad Diallo, do you drop Brereton Diaz? Do you drop McAtee? It's great to be able to bring them on as subs, but are their clubs going to be happy with that? Are the individuals going to be happy with that? Surely they're coming in expecting to play. It's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance. And if you're going to have Diallo, then if you use him as a rotation option, are you wasting that loan, really, if you're not going to play him every game? Because surely your domestic loan should be somebody who's crucial to the 11. Will the sale of Anel cover the money we need to recover in the summer? Probably not. Probably not. Mepham's average. I think it's harsh, unless you've seen a lot of him, pal, which you may have done. And I haven't seen an awful lot of him. But since we've been linked, I've done a lot more research. And I don't mind it, personally. But you're entitled to your opinion. Let's go for it, says Rye. Victor, Mepham and O'Hare. Sell Anel and go for it. Maybe get Kiefer Moore in too, or somebody like Che Adams. Che Adams is going for cheap, isn't he? Because he's out of contract at end of season. I think there'll be a bit of a scramble for him. Kiefer Moore, I don't think they'll sell to us because we're in the same league. He's likely, I think he's been linked to Cardiff as well. I would love the other three. Victor, Mepham and O'Hare. These twists of fate are in our favour, says John, for a change. It feels like we're meant to stay up. Oh, don't. Take 12 million for Anel. Get a couple of decent players in the positions we need most. Up the blades. Top man, John, back with another very, very astute point. Hi, Jimmy. Forest, Everton, Chelsea, Man City can spend as much as they want. 10 points is not enough. All these clubs have bottomless pits. It's so unfair. The more you spend, the more you survive. A joke. Borough apparently close to signing Diallo for Man United. offer most of his wages, apparently. Borough are starting to do a little bit of business out there. They got Azaz from Villa, who were on loan at Plymouth, did well. Signed somebody else who skips my mind at a minute as well, but I think they're turning screw a little bit and may well have another go now at top 6. Jimmy, whoever we get in for an L, we need a dominant centre half, as I don't think we've had one for a long time. I agree. With nobody that'll just, I mean, Jack Robinson tries, doesn't he? And he's in that ilk of the player that you want, like a Chris Morgan, where he'll just go and try and dominate, but he's not quite got the quality. And that's no slight on him because he's hugely improved, but he's not Premier League quality, certainly not in my eyes. If we sell an L, use those funds, but don't overstretch our finances by using future earnings. I completely agree with that. Centre back and goalkeeper, plus a load up top of the pitch. Danny Boy, hopefully Traore at Nantes plays well, and that's the $4.5 million we won't have to find next season. Get Jebo signed up for 3 years and wham, back on the transfer list. That's a few million there. Nice. Calculated, but nice. Asula's way better. I can't see him being in front of him. I think Jebo's got a bit of work to do to get back into the picture, but we don't know the work that's going on behind the scenes. It keeps flip-flopping, doesn't it, as to whether it looks like he's staying or not. Looked last week like he might sign, then he was linked with other clubs late last week. We've not really heard anything. He's not signed as yet. Won't surprise me to see a cheeky little announcement, though, to say he's signed. Would love that as well. In truth, the rumour that Illiman's being tapped, any truth in the room that Illiman's being tapped up by several Prem clubs out at AFCON, produced a bit of magic for their third goal yesterday. So I don't know if any other clubs have contacted him. I can only tell you what happened with us. And what I understand is they were open to a conversation about him returning to United at one stage. They're no longer open to that. They want to keep him and see how he does the second half of the season. They believe that his poor form for Marseille first half of the season has been because he's been slightly overwhelmed and needed to get used to the level and whatever other excuse they want to chuck in. I think they haven't been playing him in his best position personally. They've been playing him out on the right, out on the left, just up front, like really top end of the pit. I don't think they've got the most out of Illiman. He was open to a conversation about coming back on loan. It would never have been a purchase. I'll be amazed, absolutely amazed, if he leaves Marseille in January because I'd be expecting us to be involved in those conversations somehow. Particularly if it's going to be a loan, I think he picks us. I think he picks us out of any lower end Premier League team that comes in because I think he'll feel like not necessarily that he owes it to us, but he's got that connection with us and he's not going to suffer individually if we end up being relegated anyway. Illiman deal heavily depends on Marseille. They're open to the right deal, which if a loan, have a high chance. If it's a perm, it's Palace. That's what Nixon said, weren't it? Again, slightly different from what I've heard, but Nixon may have different sources. I don't think we'll win the race if he's available permanently. But I think we will. Yeah, I don't think he'll move. Just sold Lodi for 20 mil, so I don't see them needing to sell Illiman. I don't think they will. Even PA, we know you're watching. Get the checkbook out. It's now or never. Signed all of us. Up the blades. Nice one, Dan. Little message to the prince there. And L gets the money spent. Makes us massively stronger in the championship. And you never know. It could be. L goes, get the money spent, make us massively strong in the championship. And you never know. Could be strong enough to keep us up. If not, we'll enjoy smashing championship again. Fine by me. Up the blades and Ramble. Top man. Top man. Excuse me. I don't like it, Jimmy. It's too quiet on the transfers front and too much speculation on who and when. I'll be glad when this window is shut up, the Ramble. I love transfer windows. I think it's really exciting, really interesting time. I love sort of, who could we get? How would he fit in the team? Oh, we can't sell him. Or, yeah, we've got to sell him. Love it all, to be honest. It's well up my street. In terms of how quiet it's been quiet across the board. I heard on radio yesterday that there's only been one permanent transfer in, I think, in the Premier League. Don't know whether that's right or not. It sounded like an amazing stat. But FFP has just shut everything down. I'm still expecting it to become very busy towards the back end of the window, like it always tends to do. But we need a bit of movement before West Ham for me. Evening, Prince Abdullah. We all know you're watching. Oh, yeah. Updated your earlier one. I think upset I think I upset Sheffield United way over there. 8-minute video. I said on Blades Ramble, you get more than an hour. I don't think I was impressed whoever it was. I said, bring back Jimmy. Thank you, mate. We're all friends here. We all support each other. I have to say that. It's a disclaimer. I'm only kidding. In Wilder We Trust, let's hope we do the right business. Stay positive no matter what happens. This season, we're all Blades. We certainly are, mate. We certainly are. Lewis Ferguson at Bologna, box-to-box midfielder, worth a look. Take your word for it, pal. If anybody from the club's watching. Lewis Ferguson's going to AC Milan, apparently. So can't be a bad player, but apparently unavailable already. It's only been mentioned a minute ago. The whole of the league is quiet with transfers. One permanent signing. Yeah, thank you, Gaz. Everyone worried about FFP and need to sell before you buy. Everyone other than that cheats, Everton and Forest are in the same boat. Absolutely right. No need to panic. Bang on. Google now reporting Everton and Crystal Palace looking at Illiman. I'm sure they are. I'm sure a lot of teams would like him, and they may have asked about him like we did, but I'm expecting him to get the same answer. Curveball suggestion for domestic loan. Brozier from Chelsea. Yeah, take him. But again, where are you playing him? Because you've got to drop somebody, haven't you? I'd like to see Asula and Archer up front together. I think Paul made a great point about it. I think it myself. I think they make a great pair. But that means you can't have a 10. And you'd have to then, if you bring in somebody like Brozier in, you'd drop a Brereton Diaz, a McAtee, or an Asula. Because you're not dropping Archer. You can get that out of your head straight away. Fatty Folk says Illiman was great in AFCON last game. Sorry, just joined, so might be answered. How much will we get for an L? And thoughts on it? In my opinion, it's a good deal up the Ramble. Top man Aiden, I think we can be looking at around 12 to 15 at best. And yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good deal, mate. Jimmy, are you going to do a few more live chats through the window to keep us up to date on stuff? Yeah, I'm not really keeping you that up to date, I suppose, pal, but it's nice to be able to come and excuse me, it's nice to be able to come and vent into it and talk about what a few of us know or what different people have heard and things like that. And that's very apparent in our Ramblers chat as well. For those of you that are involved, we've got a couple of people who are very eagle-eyed and spot the deals as soon as they're rumoured and things like that. So it's really good to sort of pull out conversations. It's a great time to be involved. But yeah, I'll certainly keep doing the lives, pal. I love talking about it myself, so it's not a chore at all. Never has been doing this. I love Che Adams back. Big, strong, pacey striker will be a class signing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him. I don't think he's the 15 million rated Che Adams that he has been previously, but now he's going to be out of contract. If you can get him for between 5 and 10, I think you've got a good deal there, haven't you? Any new Illiman won't come back, says Ian. I don't think so either. I didn't think there were a chance of it, but there was apparently, and now there isn't. So I don't think he'll come back, but it's not completely off the table, as in like never going to happen. But I'm with you, Ian. I don't think it'll happen. Any news on Egan's injury? I heard next month he's due back, which takes the pressure off a little bit, doesn't it? But we can't then. We can't not buy a centre half if we sell an L. No way. Che Adams is a great shout. Unlikely, says Gaz. He thinks Southampton will tie him down. Mepper might be viewed as Egan's replacement. Club think Egan might not recover from his injury. Big pinch of salt, that rumour, though. No, it's not what I've heard. I've seen people say it, but I've not heard that. I think Mepham would replace Anel, personally. Can we never drop your son, Jimmy? We can never drop your son, Jimmy. You need to give a big group hug. The worst happens at the end of the season. I need more than a group hug, mate. Yeah. My son is Archer, for those that aren't aware. Prince Abdullah joking with me about it. Ben Rama from West Ham. Moyes doesn't like him. Well, if Moyes don't like him, we will. Yeah, love Ben Rama. Another Brentford boy of old, into where they picked up a load of gems around that time. Yeah, Ben Rama. But again, where does he play? Where does he play? Because I think he's better than what we've got. But he's likely going to be a loan, isn't he? He's our second domestic loan. Who do you drop? I think we're okay at the top of the pitch. Okay, not great. I can see a hectic end of transfer window, to be honest. Me too, mate. For all clubs with a scramble to try and get any deals done. Wilder and Adams don't get on. He left under a cloudy defo, won't be coming back. Is that true? I know Wilder sold him. I didn't know that they'd had a falling out. I would think that Adams would have been buzzing to get a move. I think we're to Birmingham at the time, or we're league above. Wilder might not have been happy that one of his better players were looking to move, but I'm sure he'd take him back if it gives us half a chance. Would also like to see us poach Kadamatri from the Pigs. Looks an insane player. Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because Bailey Kadamatri plays for them, obviously doing really well, pushed into their first team and looks a bit of a player, unfortunately. Danny Kadamatri is one of our youth coaches, the original Danny Kadamatri. Go and get it back, son. You're making me feel sick. Yeah, it's mad how it works out. So if Dad can have a word with Lad, that might help us out a little bit there. Great ramble as ever, Jimmy. Thank you, Gaz. I'm winding up now, mate, but thank you. Appreciate that. Rotherham's keeper in for West Ham. West Ham are going for Rotherham's keeper, Will. Is that what you're meaning, pal? I hope not, because obviously Kadamatri won't get in the team. He'll be joining his daddy in the development squad. Adams lazy. Oh, Che Adams is lazy. He's banging him in at champ level, though, isn't he? He's found his scoring boots. And I think if we get him for 8 to 10 mil, then even if we go down, we'll make money on him if we want to sell him. I think it's a smart business move to look at him. What do you think will happen with our left-back situation? And me, myself, Hamer Time has answered it for me. Reece. I think Reece is our best left centre-back. I think he's our best left wing-back. And I think he's our best left-back. And I think because we've got we've got stronger options at left centre-back with Trusty and Robinson than we have at left-back with Max Lowe, etc. I think he'll end up being left-back. Reece Norrington-Davies is our strongest left-back by some stretch. And he needs to sign. He's one that I'm desperate to see sign a new deal. Someone put odds of 400 to 1 on us to sign Ivan Toney. He'd do it for the Betfred penny. Top comment, Dan. Yeah, he would. Yeah. Yeah, no, don't be telling Ivan Toney that he's 400 to 1 because he'll be rocking up at the lane. I'll tell him. Jamie heard Bean Johnson from West Ham. Don't know of him personally. Ben Johnson at West Ham. I don't mind him. I know some people don't rate him particularly. He's like a right centre half, isn't he? Good young English player, but nothing spectacular, really. Just a decent athlete. I'm not so sure how much he improves us, but I think he's probably in that category with Mepham, where I'd prefer Mepham. If we can't get Mepham, I wouldn't be upset with Ben Johnson. But I know people like Riley, whose opinion I obviously rate, which you'll see when you see our little video that we've done together. Don't rate him, I don't think. So that's fair enough. I ain't seen enough of him. Does AK still have his gloves? If not, what's Simon Tracy up to? We'll probably end up with John Burridge. John Burridge is before me, but I remember Alan Kelly and Simon Tracy well. Fantastic pair of keepers. Tony on loan, tell him we'll give him an acca for each goal he scores. Wow. Love the chats, Jimmy. Up the blades, up the ram. Top man, Stu. Top man. Hope you're doing well, pal. Sam Tickle, the Wigan keeper, young England keeper, played well the other night against Man United. He did, pal. And I'm never one to just hammer a kid for one bad performance. But I then saw him on the EFL highlights this week and he dropped a clanger. But it happens, doesn't it? And he's a young keeper, like you say. I'm not against us having a look at anybody that's got potential. Chris, I have a feeling Brewster will go on an incredible run of form. Sounds ridiculous. It does a little bit. But I can't get it out of my head. Obviously, an unpopular opinion. I wouldn't blame you if you end the vid there. I think I probably will. I think I will. Yeah, I'd love you to be right on that. Absolutely love you to be right, but I can't see it myself. I think he needs a good running aside, and he's not going to get the game time to have that real run for us. So it's unfortunate, but I think he needs a loan, personally. If he gets a loan to the Championship and plays 20 games, he's every chance of being very involved for us next year. And I wish him all the best because he's a great lad. Jimmy Foster, quality tonight, Jim. 15 mil for NL. Could be used wisely to improve us. I think so too, mate. And thank you for your kind comments. Hope you're well. Are you worried about how quiet the Blades are? I thought we'd have 2 to 3 faces in for West Ham. No chance this squad stays up currently. I agree with you. I don't think the squad's good enough currently. I'm not worried currently. I'm getting a little bit more squeaky about it. Yeah, we'll see. But we're going to leave it there. 50 minutes is a good sesh for us all. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you to Action Coach Sheffield for continuing to support the channel. Absolutely fantastic support from them, as always. If you do like what we do and you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps us to grow. We have got huge plans for 2024. I've shared some of those with a select few people, and it's gained some real positive feedback. So hopefully, fast forward 12 months and I'll be able to tell you what are those milestones we've hit, and hopefully I'll be ticking them all. But yeah, if you want to go that extra mile to support us, we're also available on Patreon. And you can get into our little private conversations and things like that as to what's going on. So thanks again for your time. Come on, you red and white wizards. Keep the faith. Up the blades.
Ramble on.